What's going on? It's me, Lauren, and I'm doing my Q&A for 30 Days of Delulu. I started this on October 1st. It's a manifestation exercise where I have been posting as though my dreams and desires are my reality. I've been posting these things on social media. It was supposed to be every day for all 31 days or 30 days of October, but I have skipped a couple days and combined days into one post because, as it turns out, of course, it is hard to figure out every day what to post. Not only the manifestation that I am calling in, but also the actual content and making it, interesting enough to post. So that's been a little bit of the challenge, although I think I've done fairly good. So if you've been following along, thank you. If not, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can listen to this Q&A if you want. Maybe you'll get something out of it. But I was asking y'all to submit questions through my Instagram if you had questions about 30 Days of Delulu. So let's pull these up. What got you into manifesting? This is real. I've seen so much this year already. Okay, I'm also going to combine it with this question. Are you still in the world of Abraham Hicks? Just curious. Love this challenge. So what got me into manifesting? I guess the language around manifesting didn't really come in until about 2013, 2014 when I started meditating, and I've talked about my meditation story, so I don't think I want to rehash that, but that's like when this language around manifesting and the law of attraction sort of entered my world. And prior to that, I also feel like, I was manifesting or doing law of attraction, visualization, thoughts become things. I was doing that kind of since I was a kid. And having this a blind belief or this super trusting thing that I knew I was going, the reference for me is I knew I was going to work at Much Music as a VJ. This was something I wanted to do, and I visualized it and acted as though a lot, and it eventually became my reality when I worked as a television host at Much Music. Now, this was just a personal goal of mine. I wanted to work in television, and I wanted to work at that station, and I wanted to be like the people I looked up to growing up. So that's my first reference for dreaming of something and then it becoming my reality. And then I guess in little ways I did that all throughout my life when I was younger too. And then I didn't really understand what I was doing until I learned about this law of attraction, manifestation stuff. And then I realized, oh yeah, I've been doing that my whole life. So then I had a language to kind of describe it. And Abraham Hicks is this thing, you can Google it, you can put it in YouTube, and it's basically a woman named Esther who channels spirit or whatever. And they talk about the law of attraction. You create your own reality. There's also a guy named Mike Dooley who says thoughts become things, and you can get notes from the universe from him every day, and he does workshops and things like that, and his books are really interesting, and I have read those. I've read them multiple times. So as far as Abraham Hicks, there was a time pre-COVID where I was very into that. Even during the beginning of COVID, I was still listening to that. I haven't listened to it as much in the last 3 years, but here and there. I've also gone to see Esther in real life twice. I've had dreams of meeting Esther and asking a question and doing an interview with her. I guess it's been in my life. Am I as into it as I used to be? No, but I'm not I'm not opposed to it. I guess I've just, what prompted me to do this 30 Days of Delulu is because a lot of my previous spiritual practices I have neglected or abandoned ever since 2020. And I've been trying to kind of call things back in or trying to get back on track or in alignment or get clarity. And so doing this manifestation exercise kind of came to me as a way to foster that again. So I still listen to Abraham. I posted an Abraham thing as part of one of the Delulu posts using the audio. Someone said, are you creating a vision board for this experience? And I did create a vision board a few days prior to actually getting this idea for 30 Days of Delulu. So I have a physical vision board, which is right now in my bedroom. I feel like just the exercise of doing that sort of got me in the right mode. And then this bigger idea of doing it through social media also came to me after that. I've made 2 or 3 vision boards in the past as well. Things have manifested from them, traveling, living in LA, things like that. So I just made this recent one, but I hadn't done one for a while before that. So anyway, you can or cannot do a vision board, but if you're not doing 30 Days of Delulu and posting on social media, because maybe it brings up a lot of fear, creating your own vision board in the privacy of your own home and keeping it to yourself is also something. you know, and have it up on your wall or behind your bedroom door, something where you'll see it every day. Okay, how do you stay motivated to do it when you don't want to? So I guess that's in reference to posting my manifestations. Well, I have struggled with that. That's why some days I miss it, because I don't know what I'm gonna post, or I don't have an idea of like how I'm gonna creatively deliver the message. So I have racked my brain a couple times about that and kind of been like, oh, whatever, I'll do it tomorrow. Like today, for instance, is October 20th when I'm filming this. I didn't post something yesterday on the 19th, so I feel like I have to post something today for the 19th and the 20th combined. I still don't know what I'm gonna do, and it's the middle of the day right now. I have a question about favorite accounts, podcasts, etc. to support shifting mindset. And that I haven't really thought about. There's probably a lot of accounts that I follow that I can't think of off the top of my head. Also, since I started posting these things, a lot of like recommended accounts just kept coming up with that post a lot of quotes and things like that. So I just started following those so that my feed is kind of all this positive affirmation, intention setting, manifestation, law of attraction material, so that that's what I'm seeing every day. I don't even know, like I can't recommend anything that's like off the top of my head. I don't really listen to podcasts because I find I need to listen to them and not do anything else. So sometimes that feels like I don't have the time and space to do that. I used to listen to, the one podcast that I do really like sounds true. It's called Sounds True Insights at the Edge with Tammy Simon. I've recommended this before. I love the people they interview on that show, and I haven't listened to it in a very, very long time, but I used to listen to it kind of religiously, and during COVID I listened to it a lot when I was obviously home and had more time. I'm really tired today, and I want to say that this may or may not relate to a question, but like what I'm noticing is that, and it's not like I've never noticed this before, but your menstrual cycle and the different phases of your cycle have a lot to do with how you feel and your mental health and your perspective at any given time. And it is literally like a day-to-day, week-to-week major shift, and it's so unsettling. Like, I think I've battled this my whole life. Women who menstruate, or people who menstruate out there, understand what I'm talking about. But like today, I'm just so tired. I'm not motivated. I don't want to do any work, even though like I have to create some recipe content, and I'm just so like dead. And I think that's partially mom, like being a mom. I've had boo-boo for a few days in a row, so I get really tired. I don't have good sleep. And then my cycle and the phase that I'm in my cycle. When I thought of this idea, I believe I was just coming out of the menstruation phase, which is a high energy phase for me. Lots of creativity, getting things done, same with ovulation. So then the latter half, the sort of last 2 weeks leading up to my cycle, which is luteal phase or whatever, I don't even know what they are, I have it in my calendar, that's when I get very like, ugh, everything's so hard. So I know that that has a lot to do with like my mood on any given moment and day, so that's really tough to work with because society and capitalism and everything doesn't really align with you operating that way. And the more I try to go with that, the more guilt and strain I feel with trying to accomplish certain things. That's a whole other thing, but it's like, that's just like a real, I would say, weight on me personally. I'm sure other people out there feel that as well. And maybe you don't even realize it's that, but it is that. And we're really, you know, supposed to be following the moons, these cycles of our moon cycle, like these 4 phases. There's certain times of the month where you shouldn't be going and socializing, and there's certain times of the month where you should do all your planning and strategizing, and then other weeks where you shouldn't. And that's all based on your menstrual cycle and all the phases. And like, just, you know, yeah, the world's not built to operate that way, unfortunately. And so it's a constant battle, I feel like, internally. That really annoys me. Do you feel like you're more immersed in the Delulu since you started? I mean, yes and no. The biggest change I've seen is that, I guess prior to today, truthfully, I was feeling really, really good and motivated and kind of delusional and kind of less anxious than I was prior to starting this exercise. I may have already said this, but there was like weeks prior to doing this where I was really anxious, really on the verge of panicking about money and just lots of things about my life, and that has gone away since I started immersing myself in this exercise and basically focused primarily on thinking about what I want and trying to call in what I want and visualize it and understand it and get clarity around that. So that has that was the point, to distract myself from reality and thereby visualizing the reality that I actually desire and want. So I think it's worked at that base level to create a shift. Now, how do I continue that and make that last? I don't know. Even today, I'm feeling like not inspired by it particularly, again, because of the phase I'm in with my cycle. Like, truly, that's what it is. Someone said, so what happens after the 30 days is over? Well, exactly, what happens? How do I stay in the vibration of not letting real reality bring me down and start spiraling and being negative? You know, I don't know. In the past, I would say it's about having a very strong personal practice, whether that's meditation, exercise, diet, you know, all the things that have to kind of, you know, align in a certain way to make you feel your best. And I also struggle with that sometimes because I just want to fight that. It's like having to create such steadfast, regimented routines and practices is something that I hate doing. I prefer to just do and be and flow. And I still find I fight that sometimes, where I'm like, oh, this isn't how I should be operating. I'm like always doing the should thing. I'm like so hard on myself, and that's gotta go. And I guess I'm working on it in small incremental ways via therapy and self-reflection and whatever, but like, yeah, I'm just like really hard on myself. And it's like whatever I'm doing, I'm not okay with. It's like I think I always should be doing something else. And that's like very like not good for the brain. So after the 30 days is over, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll keep you posted. But also the other thing is to not now hold on and grasp at these things that you've envisioned you want, or that you want in your reality. Like, you have to let it go and just trust and know that the universe knows what you want, and you don't have to keep harping on it. You don't have to keep putting it out there. You know, you're putting it out there now if you're doing this exercise, and then you just gotta let it go and kind of just move on with your life. Do you ever feel like envisioning how things will go causes disappointment later on? It could, but again, that's because if you're grasping and desperate and again, creating resistance because you're too clingy to what you want. The idea is to surrender and trust. So disappointment comes when you are impatient and you think you're not getting what you want, and I said impatient, right? When you're impatient, you think it should be here now. It's like, no, you gotta give it all up to the universe, and you gotta learn how to let go. So however you're gonna do that, that means, again, distracting yourself from the manifestation. So you can't be clinging to them and constantly worrying about it and thinking, oh, it's not gonna happen. So that's where the disappointment can arise, and the disappointment is resistance, and it's not going to help you. Have you noticed any changes already or manifestations unfolding? Well, it's interesting because posting some of the things that I want, if people know that these are intentions and visions and goals, then I have had a few people reach out with suggestions or connections or things they want to help me with. So that's been kind of interesting because I put it out there, and then obviously I reach quite a lot of people, and people that I actually know from my past careers and stuff. So I've had some conversations, which I think is good. And again, I'm just sort of like, where could these lead? I don't know, we'll see. Other than that, nothing too obvious has shown up, but we'll see. We still have at least 10 more days to go as of today. Someone said finding 30 things to manifest is a lot. I'm repeating mine. I've only got 5 things. So that's fine. Someone made a suggestion that even though I'm posting, like, say, my dream home, one of the suggestions was we'll get into more detail, and I had talked about detail. Like, sometimes it's good to envision your house, but then constantly go back to the vision and imagine more details of it, like the paint color or the furnishings or like the pillows or the carpet or the dishes in the cupboards, and like the thing, that kind of thing. So this one person DM'd me saying they created a Pinterest board of like the full shopping list of everything, including dishware. And so I think, yeah, sometimes, you know, getting into the details can be helpful, but if you find yourself getting sticky with it, let it go and get more generic. There's kind of this like balance or this dance you have to do between getting detailed and staying general, because the thing is, the other kind of law of attraction or law of whatever is that the universe can deliver things to you bigger than you can even imagine and in ways you can't even imagine. So you kind of have to stay open to the possibility of things coming to you in a different form. And that's where the flexibility and the free flowingness of this has to come in, and the surrendering to it. So I think, again, manifest details if you're not feeling resistance about it, right? How do you get past imposter syndrome with manifesting? This is a big one. I haven't thought about the answer. Imposter syndrome is just like a self-worth thing. It's thinking, I'm not good enough. Why do I deserve to be in this position, etc., etc. And I think working on self-worth has to come down to a lot of things. Like, you know, you may not be, you know, I think there's like a lot of pre-paving or preparatory work one has to do before truly like being able to manifest things, because again, you're your own worst enemy and you're causing your own problems and resistance. This is the idea. I'm saying all these things as though this is stuff I have learned. Again, I feel like I'm wading through a bit of new territory again with all of this, because I'm not wholeheartedly believing a lot of what I used to believe just so naively and steadfast. So that's where my stickiness is coming from. And I guess that could be sort of paralleled with imposter syndrome, which I've been dealing with since I had my child as well, feeling like, oh, I'm old hat. Oh, I'm not the cool kid on the block anymore. Oh, I'm not, you know, whatever, when it comes to my business and stuff. I don't know how you get over that. I think you have to get into like the Delulu mindset and say positive things to yourself and sort of reframe the thoughts you're thinking. And even a step before that, that comes down to even noticing the thoughts you're thinking, and noticing the thoughts you're thinking can really only happen when you pay attention, but also get quiet and do things like meditation, or your form of meditation, if that's exercise or something like that. So you can observe your thoughts and even be aware like how chronic that negative thinking or that negative self-talk even is. Oh, how specific should it be? Is the more specific the better? Well, as I sort of mentioned previously, it can be good, but it can also backfire. So only you can really judge for yourself. If you find yourself easily picturing, calling in, articulating the specifics, then go right ahead and do what, this is something like what Abraham would call like a rampage, like go on a rampage as much as you can, saying positive things, like the thing I posted the other day on social, this post where it says, I love life, I love where I'm going, I love the journey I've been on, I love where I've been, I appreciate everything I've experienced. It's like constantly just saying affirming positive things and beliefs, which is a kind of a reprogramming, and it just starts kind of paving a path and making things easier for you. So if you find you can do that verbally, visually, in meditation, whatever, and you're not coming up against a wall of resistance or something really sticky where you're now starting to feel bad or think bad things, that's when you need to stop and just like let it go. So again, you can be generic if that's where you're at and you're finding it harder to get specific. If you feel like you've thought a lot about the same thing already, you can dive deeper into getting more specific. Something Abraham and Mike Dooley talk about is the sights, sounds, smells, touch, like all the senses involved in your visualization. Like if you can just invoke those senses in the visualization. And also there's another tactic of like having conversations with, you know, the imaginary people in your head of like, if it's like you want to win this award, so you imagine and have the whole conversation as though you've won the award, and like you imagine shaking the people's hand and seeing the crowd and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So you envision the outcome of what you want happening, you envision the outcome of having it. So that's another sort of way to get more specific. And lastly, I have a lot of vague dreams, but how do you organize your thoughts into a manifestation? So I would, maybe I'm repeating myself, but I would take these vague dreams you say you have and focus on one of them at a time. 5-10 minutes a day, this is what I would do. And sit and close my eyes, and don't even think of this as meditation or having to do anything. Just visualize, okay, what's the vague dream? it comes to mind. Now build a story around that and start expanding that dream. Again, maybe add in more details. What space are you in? What do you look like now that you've got the thing you want? What clothes are you wearing? What perfume are you wearing? What shoes are you wearing? What car do you drive? Where are you? Who are you interacting with? What kinds of conversations are you having? Where are you spending your money? What are the things you're acquiring? How is the world around you different? So like, I think there's a way to sit in having just like a quiet visualization moment. Again, it's really just daydreaming. So imagine it as daydreaming and trying to not let anything interfere with it. Like really just staying focused on expanding this vague dream that you have. And start with one thing at a time. And start with the thing that has the least resistance. So if there's something big that you still are like, oh, that's impossible, I would never, don't start with that one. Start with the easy thing, the easier thing, the less sticky thing. So that's what I think. Now I have had only one person posting almost every day like me, Hyro out there, who is from Canada, and I've met him before at a hot for food events. So he's been posting every day all his manifestations and tagging me, and that's wonderful. I haven't seen anyone else posting or sharing, so that's fine. I don't know if you've been doing it privately. Again, you didn't have to do it publicly. I was just trying to encourage, you know, I could help amplify those things, because it's been really cool to see when I post about stuff, more particularly when I posted about the Bite Heist, my TV show. Everyone, I think a lot of people think that it's real, and I even got some messages from people in emails referring to it as though it was real, and I don't know if these people are just acting and pretending. I think I actually did trick some people, which is kind of funny and great in a way, because it's like the more there are other people believing in that idea, then I feel like that's even more amplification, which was like the idea behind this. So if you want to share your manifestations, tag me at Lauren Toyota, hashtag 30 days of Delulu, and I'll reshare them in my stories, and that will help, again, ripple out those manifestations and those dreams and desires. So I hope you've been enjoying this content. I think it's, you know, for a particular part of this audience, not necessarily everybody. It's been fun to observe kind of the outcomes and what happens and the responses from people. So thanks for playing along with me, and I hope you're feeling good. And I don't know what's gonna happen after this, but we shall see. Now I gotta go and start thinking about what today's post is gonna be. Okay, peace, bye.